What would you guess is the most used word in 2020 and the beginning of 2021? If you guessed pandemic, you would be correct according to dictionary.com. However, the word unprecedented was the People's Choice 2020 Word of the Year, beating out pandemic by a small margin. Of course it is. Storming the Capitol building is unprecedented. Having a president impeached not once but twice is indeed unprecedented. The 4,400 deaths in the US per day due to coronavirus is indeed unprecedented. But there's something that bothers me about the overuse of the word. It's beginning to feel like we're becoming inured to it. Like if we just call something unprecedented, we're giving ourselves permission to throw our hands up in the air and not do anything about it. Not enough vaccines? Unprecedented. Men wearing shirts embracing Auschwitz? Unprecedented. By repeating the word over and over again, by allowing ourselves to wallow in the unfairness of it all, we're missing an opportunity to anticipate, prepare, and even prevent an event from happening again. If you think about it, the only truly unprecedented plague in our Parsha should have been the first one, the plague of dam, or blood. The unexpected experience was truly unparalleled for the Mitzrayim, in every sense of the word. And yet, due to Paro's short-sighted stubbornness of refusing to let the Jewish people go, the plagues kept coming. It took until the awful 10th plague of Makat Bechorot for Paro to finally relent and put a stop to the Egyptian suffering. One image described in Midrash Tanchuma captures this point. A Mefarshim note that when it comes to the second plague, God threatened that frogs, in plural, hordes of frogs would cover the land. And yet the pasuk says, "Vayet Aharon et yado al memei Mitzrayim v'ta'al hatzvardeya v'takenes et ha'eretz Mitzrayim." Aaron held out his arm over the waters of Egypt, and the frog, singular, one frog, came up and covered the land of Egypt. Rabbi Akiva explains, there was one frog, tzvardeya achat hayata, and the Egyptians would hit it with a stick. As they struck it, other frogs would fall away from it until the whole land of Egypt was filled with frogs. The Steipler rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Kanevsky, asks an obvious question. If the Egyptians saw that when they struck the frog, it was divided into more and more frogs, why did they continue hitting it? If when you strike the frog, it does not die, but rather divides into more frogs, wouldn't it be best to not do anything at all? Why did the Egyptians insist on hitting the frog, spreading the plague everywhere? It's a profound question. Why would the Egyptians keep hitting the frog over and over again, knowing that it would proliferate? Why? Because it's human nature. We can't help it. We repeat and repeat an action each time, hoping the outcome will be different. To quote an overused cliche, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. If we're unable to adapt, our response can only be to say over and over that the event is unprecedented, as if there's nothing we can do. I say enough. Stop hitting the frog. Perhaps we need to hit the pause button instead and reflect on events that have happened this past week, month, and year, and analyze the lessons that can be learned to help us prepare and adapt for the future. Rather than falling back into a spiral of feeling out of control, what can we take control of? Is there a certain point at which we can stop hiding behind inaction, shake off that feeling of paralysis, and jump into solving problems? I saw this happen this week, for example, when rather throw up our hands at yet another hurdle of the terrible rollout system for administering vaccines all over the country, our community sprung into action. Our leaders reached out to elected officials to see how we could assist. We set up a system of volunteers and are helping to sign up those who don't have easy internet access or drive people to vaccine sites. And if you fall into the acceptable categories and need help getting an appointment, please do not hesitate to reach out to one of the rabbis. We will do our best to help you. It's true, I have no idea what will come next, but we actually have 2,000 years of history to help us predict trends. Rather than waiting for the next unprecedented event to occur, and rather than hitting the problem with a stick so that it grows and grows, let's try to commit to pause, assess, predict, adapt, and then work together to prepare for various outcomes. Who knows? Maybe the energy wasted on complaining about all that is unprecedented can be redirected to actually preventing and even solving our now precedented issues. Let's get to work.